Am I the asshole pretending another girl was my girlfriend? I, 25 meters, was out with my girlfriend, 25F, and some other friends. We were drinking and having a good time. I smoked, trying to quit, and went outside alone for a smoke. I was standing in front of the bar, kind of a short walk away. I don't like standing right in front of the door because the smoke gets into the bar or establishment. This frantic-looking woman is walking at normal pace, and there is a guy a couple of feet behind her. She walks to me and says, "Hey, baby, I'm glad you're waiting where you said you would." I was confused at first, but I quickly understood the situation. This guy was weird, and on the way up, he was muttering weird things like, "Just give me your number. You're so pretty. I just want to talk to you," etc. When I told someone else this story, I was asked why I didn't react when I saw her walking and heard that. And the answer is, it all happened very fast, and I had been drinking. Once I put it together, I said, "Hey, honey, been waiting for you." And she put her arm around me, and it took longer than I would have liked for the guy to leave. I was being gentle, saying, "All right, goodbye, buddy, and we've got to get back home." Eventually, the guy left, but not because she wanted him to leave, because I kept insisting. Nothing bad happened at all. My girlfriend had been watching from the window and must have only caught the end part of it and saw the other girl with her arm around me. My girlfriend is not the type to cause a public scene. She'll wait until a private time to air her grievances. The girl had no money for an Uber and was planning on walking home but felt too nervous. So I arranged for an Uber to pick her up and waited outside with her until the car came, jumping ahead to when I was home with my girlfriend. She asked me, what was that all about, and wanted to know why her arm was around me and why I stayed after the creep left. She put together that the guy was being weird, but she said I shouldn't have let her put her arm around me. Even though after the guy left, she removed it. None of my explanations were working, so I just turned it to her and said, "What would you have wanted me to do? And if you were here, what would you have wanted the guy to do?" She just couldn't answer and said to stop flipping it.
I reported my annoying neighbor until he moved. I just want peace and quiet, and to be left alone. I'm in my late 20s and live alone, and I really hate kids. My neighborhood is a group of separate houses without yards that are spaced close to each other. I've lived here for 5 years by myself, and it's perfect. Everything I've ever wanted. No yards to take care of, and no kids around making noise. The houses share a large T-shaped cement driveway, and none of us have ever interacted with each other. We come and go, stay quiet, and mind our own business. There's a small park down the street with grass for those who want it, literally a 30-second walk away. About a year ago, a guy with a lot of little kids moved into my neighborhood. As always, I just drove past him like anyone else, and closed my garage, never spoke to him, no problem. Over time, he started making himself at home. He would park his large truck in the motor court, which has a sign saying it's illegal because it's a fire lane. It would block his neighbor's garage across from him. He would set up lawn chairs in front of his neighbor's garage and have the little kids out there running and screaming right in front of people's houses and garages, so we would have to listen to it and then try not to run over the children as we back our cars out of the garages. He would rev his motorcycle at 8 a.m. on a Saturday and wake up the neighborhood. When his kids would be blocking the driveway, they'd take their sweet time moving. Because of this, I did one simple thing. When I would come home every day and drive past around them, I wouldn't wave back when he waved at me. Oh, how that hurt his pride. He should have left it at that, but no, he had to press the issue. So he started waving more and then shouting at me as I drove past, and then telling his kids to stop and stand and wave at me as I always drove past and ignored them all. Until eventually, he didn't like how I drove around his kids that were in the way, even though I always drive at a safe, slow speed there. So he tried to confront me. He shouted at my car, then came to my garage as I was already getting out of the car and had the garage closing, so it closed right in his face without me ever looking at him, la Mao. He didn't like that, so he immediately walked to my front door, saw that I had a doorbell camera, and turned around and walked away. A couple days later, coming home, he was crossing the driveway as I arrived, and because he had told the kids to stop and wave at me, the dipshit stopped in the middle, so he stood in my way to block my car while trying to get the kid to move. and so I honked for 3 seconds right in his face until he moved. That was our last interaction, and I decided he's annoyed me enough. I live in an HOA. I don't actually care about any of the rules, but I decided to use them all to report him endlessly for every violation I knew of, using my dash cam on my car for screenshots with evidence. His parking in the motor court stopped after they gave him a ticket. He had to throw out the child's playhouse he had set up next to his garage. I kept reporting him for having an open garage door that I don't actually care about, in order to get him to have to stop hanging out in the motor court and, I don't know, use his brain and take the kids down the street to the park. Only took 4 months of reporting him repeatedly, and he just moved out. Am I the asshole for putting my niece in the same room as my daughter even though we had a spare? I, 22F, and my BF, 24 May, have 3 kids aged 3, triplets. When we moved into the house, it has 4 bedrooms. We have one, our daughter has one, and the boys share, and then a playroom for their toys. When they're older, one of the boys will move to the playroom, but they're still little. And I've read little kids should sleep in a calm, minimal room with toys separate for better sleep, so we're doing that for now. My brother, 32M, has a daughter, Lucy, 2F. He and his wife married 2 years ago but weren't able to go on a honeymoon because Lucy was only a month old at the time, so they postponed it. And things happened, so they're going now for their anniversary. They left yesterday for a week, and I'm watching Lucy. They left in a hurry for their plane, so I took her things and unpacked. I put her in my daughter's room. It's a bit cramped, but for a week it'll do, and they don't spend all day in there anyway. We FaceTimed that night, right before her bedtime. I told them Lucy was sleeping with my daughter, and they didn't say anything to that except they wanted to call after everyone was in bed. So we called again, and they asked why Lucy had to share a room when they know the playroom is fine. I told them the playroom was very messy, my fault, and it was so cluttered and bright that Lucy might have trouble going to sleep, and my daughter still had room while the playroom would have to be emptied a bit to fit all her things. Edit, equipment was not good wording. But they demanded I move her tomorrow, and I should have known their daughter deserved to be by herself since she is at home. So today, while everyone was at preschool playgroup, I set up her things in there, but I'm wondering if it really was a super bad thing to do. I didn't think it would matter, since they never told me she was to be by herself, but again, they probably assumed. I don't know if I did something terrible because they were acting like it was, or if they're overreacting. They've texted every couple hours now to make sure I'm not forgetting things, and they've never done that before when I watched her in the past. So maybe they don't trust me anymore? IDK. Aita? Before anyone asks, I don't want to get my BF involved because he's stressed enough with school and work.
Comment below your interesting stories. We'd love to read all of them. We value you and welcome you to our family. Please like and subscribe because my partner is going to quit. Turn on notifications for more spicy stories like these ones.